If you're a serious history buff or a survival enthusiast, you'll want to stick around for this one. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to Legacy of Survival for more deep dives into historical techniques that are both fascinating and practical. Today, we're exploring a medieval wood preservation method so effective that it was eventually banned. Yet the knowledge behind it can still teach us volumes about material science, survival, and ingenuity. This isn't just a tale from dusty history books. It's a practical lesson on how our ancestors battled the elements and how those same principles can be applied today. Whether you're restoring old furniture, building a shelter, or just fascinated by the cleverness of the past. Medieval Europe was a wet place. Rain, humidity and constant exposure to the elements made wooden structures and tools rot faster than they could be replaced. Castles, bridges, homes, and even simple barrels faced relentless decay. But in the heart of this struggle, woodworkers discovered a secret formula. A process of soaking, coating and treating wood with substances that made it nearly immune to rot and insect damage. What's fascinating is that the ingredients were naturally available, yet highly effective. So effective, in fact, that regulatory authorities eventually prohibited it because of its toxic side effects. The core of the method involved combining tar, pitch, and heavy metal salts. Tar and pitch acted as sealants, creating a waterproof layer, while metal salts, typically copper, arsenic or lead compounds, penetrated the wood fibres, killing fungi and deterring insects. The result was wood that could endure decades of exposure to the elements without losing structural integrity. Think of ship hulls that sailed stormy North Sea waters, or bridges that spanned rivers for generations without repair. The medieval craftspeople didn't have chemical labs, yet through trial, error and observation, they achieved results that modern preservatives only replicated with synthetic chemicals centuries later. What made this method so remarkable was not just its durability, but its versatility. Entire homes were constructed using this process, creating frameworks that resisted rot even in damp climates. Wooden barrels, crucial for storing food and liquids, could last years instead of months. Outdoor tools, from plough handles to wheel rims, resisted cracking and splitting. Even modern survivalists can take a page from this playbook. Coating wooden stakes or structural supports with natural tar and copper-infused solutions can dramatically extend their lifespan, making it a low-tech, high-impact solution for shelters or long-term outdoor projects. So, the technique itself was, well, methodical and precise. Wood had to be thoroughly dried and then either immersed or coated with a heated mixture of tar and pitch. The high heat, you see, allowed the resinous material to penetrate deep into the fibres. After that, a metallic solution was applied, often by brushing or soaking. Now, in some historical texts, instructions suggest repeated applications over the course of several weeks, allowing each layer to bond, ensuring both water resistance and biocide properties. This multi-stage approach, though it was certainly labour-intensive, produced wood that could withstand both rot and insect infestation far better than untreated timber. It wasn't just the chemicals that mattered. The timing and type of wood played a role too. Oak and elm, which were prized for their tight grain, were ideal candidates. Softwoods like pine required extra care, but even they could be preserved effectively with careful layering. The medieval craftsmen, they were keen observers of their environment. They understood that the moisture content of wood, the ambient temperature, and even the seasonal timing could influence the preservation outcome. This was knowledge born of centuries of, trial and error, passed down through guilds and often jealously guarded. Yet the very effectiveness of this method eventually led to its downfall. Heavy metals like arsenic and lead, while protecting the wood, were highly toxic. Chronic exposure could harm workers and contaminate stored food or liquids. By the late medieval and early modern periods, regulatory authorities began banning the technique in many regions, not because it didn't work, but because it was too dangerous for widespread use. Despite this, traces of the method persisted in shipbuilding and industrial applications for some time, testament to its unmatched protective power. For modern survivalists, historical enthusiasts, or anyone interested in durable woodcraft, understanding this technique opens practical doors. While we avoid toxic metals today, the principle remains. Natural resins like pine pitch or beeswax can create water-resistant barriers, and modern non-toxic preservatives mimic the protective effect of medieval metal salts. For example, coating outdoor wooden posts with pine tar not only protects against moisture, but also repels insects. So, even without arsenic or lead, the logic behind the medieval method informs safe, effective preservation strategies that last far beyond ordinary untreated wood. This medieval wood preservation trick is more than just an old recipe. It's a lesson in ingenuity, observation, and adaptation. It shows how our ancestors combined natural materials with systematic technique to solve problems that still challenge us today. By studying these methods, we gain practical tools for survival, building, and restoration, all while connecting directly with the knowledge of those who shaped history with their hands. For anyone fascinated by historical craftsmanship or hands-on survival science, there's enormous value in understanding how past societies overcame environmental challenges with nothing but observation, resourcefulness, and determination. If this dive into medieval wood preservation intrigued you, there's plenty more where that came from. Subscribe to Legacy of Survival to explore more forgotten techniques, ingenious solutions, and survival hacks from history that still work today. Share this video with fellow enthusiasts who value practical history and long-lasting knowledge. And remember, every piece of history we uncover isn't just a story. It's a tool, a lesson, and a survival guide in its own right.